Okay, Psych 250 students, this is the final video for the final chapter. I see there's some tears in your eyes. You're going to miss watching these videos. Not. Let's continue. The insanity defense is, at least according to the movies, is used all the time. But in reality, this insanity is a legal term. It's difficult to prove. And in actuality, a very small percentage of people actually try this defense, and even a smaller percentage are successful. But what do we do with people that commit heinous crimes but are also mentally ill? Should they spend the rest of their life in mental institutions? What happens if they get better? Can't they still contribute to society? Okay, so I'm walking down the street and I'm yelling at nobody in particular, and I'm not wearing a Bluetooth thing. So, can you commit me civilly? Well, if I say something like, I feel like killing the world, that's just an opinion. You can't lock somebody else up for that. If I have an identifiable victim, if I've got a knife in my hands and I'm swinging it at whoever goes by me, that's a different story. If I have a knife and I'm cutting myself, that's a different story, right? If I am committed against my will, what happens to my life? Who pays my bills? What happens to my job? So I'm hurrying up to videotape this last one just in case, right? Now this varies from state to state, but there has to be pretty clear evidence that you're a danger to yourself or to others. Substantial evidence, not just a person's opinion, not because they don't like you, not because you disagree with their political theories or ideas. Unfortunately, it's almost as if we have to wait until something bad happens before we can make that move. And that's most unfortunate, right? It's a little bit too late. You have rights. Through a series of legal cases, we've determined your right to refuse treatment, to receive treatment. Our treatment varies, as you know, as resources get cut. Many times, mental health programs also get cut, and there's not enough to go around. If you don't meet the criteria, you don't have to receive treatment. For example, if you feel like the medication is against your religious beliefs, and you make a legal case as to why it will not help you, then you don't have to take the medication. Now, the loved ones of that individual would be like, please, please take the medication. Force that person to take the medication. Okay, so you go through treatment. You're released to outpatient treatment, or maybe it's inpatient. Does it still hold? What you say, does it remain confidential? And this is something we tell all our clients as they're entering into therapy. What you say remains between us. Now, Vegas used to say something similar. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But we know that's not true, not with social media. But yes, by law, clinicians, social workers, psychologists, psychiatrists, etc., have to maintain confidentiality. They cannot reveal information that you say, with some exceptions. What are those exceptions? Well, you are a danger to yourself or others. In other words, you have identifiable victim. I'm going to kill Spider-Man later today. Well, I have to break confidentiality. I'm going to kill myself later on today. I have to break confidentiality. If there's evidence of child abuse or elder abuse, I have to break confidentiality. This is usually explained when you first start therapy, but you have to be really cognizant and upfront about having to break confidentiality. Your client may not like it, but legally you're bound to. Now, part of this is because of the Tarasoff case, also known as duty to warn. And this was a horrible case in which a man, who you see pictured here, revealed to his therapist that he wanted to hurt and kill this woman. This woman turned away his advances. Now, the therapist contacted campus police, excuse me, and campus police went and talked with him, and he denied. He just said, just words. Later, he killed her. Her family sued the university, and since that time, we have what's known as duty to warn. So as a clinician, if you have a case like that, yes, you have to contact the police and let them know what's going on, but you'll also have to make every effort to contact the potential victim. And you have to document your attempts to contact the potential victim. Now, this might not stop their actions, but at least you have on record that you made every attempt to contact the individual. Again, duty to warn varies from state to state. It would be nice if we had one uniform system. It's always nice when we have uniformity, but that's not the case because every state is a little bit different. Now, what happens if your therapist is inappropriate with the client? Well, I don't know this to be the truth because I'm not an apple farmer, but it seems like in every barrel there's always a bad apple. And be careful with apples because one bad apple kind of leads to other bad apples, right? And we have bad therapists. If you have a therapist that says the solution to your problems is to engage in a relationship, a sexual intimate relationship with me to solve your problems, I would stop seeing that therapist. I would report that therapist. They're in violation of their association, possibly the American Psychological Association rules. Inappropriate. Now, how often does this happen? Well, I have some research here and I wanted to share. A client hugs you, about 89% of the clinicians admitted to that. Feeling sexually attracted to a client, about 87% admitted. This is all done anonymously, so people can be open and upfront. Client flirts with you, 87. You hug a client, 81. It doesn't say the context of hugging, right? Client tells you that he or she is attracted to you, 73%. You hold a client's hand, 60%. Again, the context. Clinicians are told to have a professional relationship, no dual relationship. So no going to business with your client while they're being treated. The singer Brian Wilson had a very strange relationship with his clinician. He became like a kind of a business manager and prescribed medication to him, and that became very skewed, right? You can't have what's known as dual role. If, as a clinician, you're feeling something isn't quite right, how I'm reacting to this client isn't appropriate, then you need to address it in therapy. Or you need to get some help, maybe from a supervisor, from another clinician. How do I process? One of the best things you could possibly do is maybe transfer that client. What happened to me personally one time was I was seeing a client, and the client, it was around February, and the client brought me a big heart-shaped box full of chocolates. Now, gifts are a little tricky because we know, culturally speaking, sometimes people offer you something, and culturally it's very insulting to refuse a gift, right? So you accept it graciously. But my spidey senses were tingling, and I felt like there might be something else behind this box of chocolates. So I accepted the gift, and I said, you know what? I'm going to share it with my coworkers. And I brought it up front. I said, you know, I don't want you to think that because it would be very inappropriate that there's some kind of relationship besides the therapeutic relationship we have based on this gift that you're giving to me. And of course, the client denied, oh no, it's just happened to pick up a box of chocolates. But after that, she stopped coming for therapy. So I suspect that there was something else. And why does that happen? Why does transference happen when people start to feel these strong emotions positively or negatively towards their therapist, or countertransference when the therapist also feels those feelings? Because we're human beings. I met so many people in therapy that I thought would be such a cool person as a friend. We had so much in common, but I knew that couldn't be the case because we had this therapeutic relationship and I couldn't go beyond that. Because let's face it, if I'm friends with somebody who I'm providing therapy with and we go out to see a movie, I might ask them before the movie starts, so how are you doing? And they might ask, are you asking me as a friend or as my therapist? It gets too convoluted. So it's best to keep things separately, for sure. So that's it. Thank you for your attention. Now, for the answers, the final review. There is a question, of course, on the case study, and the walls moved, and it's linked to deinstitutionalization. There is a question on the importance of confidentiality and therapy. And the final question is the insanity defense, the term insanity, and the ties to the media, how the media portrays it, and what the reality is. This is what I meant when I've said this before about how you have to kind of re-educate our community because there's so much confusion as to what disorders are all about, the benefits of therapy, all these terms associated with abnormal psych. I hope that you're able to take some of these tools and share them with members of the community. And with enough people getting educated about things, there won't be as much stigma, there'll be a little bit more openness, and maybe a little bit more mental health. Thank you.